Well, as I said earlier on, Tracy's not with us tonight, and she will be devastated because one of our special guests tonight is a great mate of ours, Troy Cassar-Daley, fresh out of a big weekend at CMC, and he joins us tonight. Thanks for taking the time out, Troy.
Darren, it's a pleasure, and good evening to all your listeners. I love the sunny coast, so it's always nice to talk to someone up in that area.
Mate, memories, it's still fresh in the mind from Thursday night at the awards onwards for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What's your highlights for CMC?
Oh, look, the awards were fantastic, but I have to say the highlight was just that 1 hour I got to spend on stage with that amazing crowd. You think these kids are sort of a little bit sort of younger than the generation that listened to my music, and they knew all the words to so many songs. I was blown away. I think their parents have brainwashed them very well.
I think there's a touch there that country music, it used to be growing up in different parts that it wasn't cool, but it certainly has. It is amazing how many young people love our genre.
Well, I think what CMC have achieved too with the TV medium is just bringing young kids in to the fold and getting them access to this music. And once they get access to it, it's wonderful to see how much they take to it. You know, whether they're young kids who are driving around in their done-up utes or sitting on each other's shoulders singing along to songs, it's really wonderful to see. And it's another part of the handing of the torch really to the next generation of country fans who are going to come to these festivals and enjoy themselves.
Now, one of my favourite things at any country music festival is the songwriters. You must have had a blast in that songwriters tent the other day. There was some real gods of songwriting in there, wasn't there?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I tell you what, you don't want to go there without bringing your A game. And the thing was, you feel quite intimidated because these blokes have had lots of number ones in America and stuff like that. But I think once you do your thing and sing some songs in front of them, they get to realise that you do what you do, and you're successful here in Australia, which is something that they see as being a really good thing. They really love the songs and they love the stories, and I think that's what Australian songwriting is all about anyway.
We're talking to Troy Cassar-Daley. His brand new album was released there at CMC on Friday the 13th. Let's hope it's good luck for you. Freedom Ride's the album. Now, speaking of songwriting, Troy, you've really taken it with talk about some A-grade people. Colin Buchanan, of course, Paul Kelly, and our mate Pete Dennehy. You've really gone in some great collaboration there.
Yeah, I haven't collaborated for a while, Darren. I wanted to really make sure that I had some other, different people to knock heads with on these particular tunes. And I wrote the first bunch by myself, and then I thought, no, I'd like to just bring some people over to the farm, do some collaborating there, and then I tried to track down Paul Kelly to see if he was available for a few days as well, and I managed to do that. And the nice part is, you get a chance to sit down with these people. I've written with them before, so you might get something out of it. And it's that they're proven writers. And Pete Dennehy in particular, though, mate, I must say I've known him for over 20 years, and I've never written a tune with him. Getting him up to the farm was fantastic. We had a lot of old whips there that got damaged during the 2011 floods. That were hanging on the wall with no falls on them, and he sat there while he was riding with me, correcting all the falls on these whips for me, That's the sort of bloke he is. He brought up his little bits and pieces with a sharp pocket knife, and he was cutting it straight from raw pieces of hide, and that's a real skill. And I think some of that skill made its way into some of the songs he wrote as well.
There's no doubt about that. As I mentioned, we're talking with Troy Cassar-Daley. The new album's Freedom Ride, and the current single, Take a Walk in My Country. I've heard it being played on the radio over the last few weeks, but there was something special on Thursday night when I had the opportunity of being at the awards, and just seeing that in a more intimate crowd, that really touches you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I do like the intimate crowds, and I think that that song in particular, there's a lot of Australian sort of pride on this record as well, and I wanted to make sure that was highlighted in some of the tunes that made it onto the record. And we should be proud of our country, Darren. We've got a great place to write about, and it's still got many, many stories that are untold yet that I'm hoping I can be around long enough to dig up and share with people. And this is a way to take people on the road with you, basically, with a song like this.
Can I just indulge a little bit? Talk about the title track, Freedom Ride. Obviously, there's a big message in that. Do you think that message to all generations of all Australians, regardless of their background, do you think that story gets through enough?
Look, I would love to think that something like Freedom Ride might just raise people's awarenesses and bring them out of a little bit of complacency about the way that Australia is, especially with its relations with Indigenous people. Being an Indigenous bloke myself, I've always strived to bring people together with music. And education's a big part of that, Darren. And that particular incident was something that I wanted to write about. It was a changing thing in the history of Australia, because the raising of the awareness of the way people were living in the regions on that freedom ride, actually 2 years later, went to a referendum, and resoundingly yes, everyone said, look, Indigenous people should be able to vote because they should be known as, citizens of this country. So it's one of the 12 stories on the record that I wanted to share with everyone, but it was an important enough one, I suppose, to make the title track too, because I think it's lovely being able to get through a whole album and just help people with understanding of different parts of culture and things like that as well.
Now, I suppose you had the luxury of being just down the road for you for CMC. Not so luxurious, I wouldn't imagine, over the next 12 months. What sort of touring's ahead for Troy Cassar-Daley?
Oh, Darren, there's some miles to do, my friend. We're going to be running around the place, and I think that there's about 38, 40 gigs in the next few months that we'll get through, and they're going to be in some really special locations. But we're actually getting out to some of the Western Queensland regions on this run. I really wanted to get back to Blackall and Charleville and Longreach and those places. They're doing it tough with the drought out there. And it doesn't mean they don't deserve a show, though. They need a chance to escape for a few hours with us, with myself and Pete Dennehy's coming on the road to supply a little bit of laughter at the front end of the show, get people in the mood, and then we hopefully give them all the different bits and pieces, some little sprinkles of Freedom Ride, but mostly things that they've heard that I've recorded over the years. And I think, it's going to be a wonderful tour because of that.
There's no doubt about that, and I can tell you, when you get to those remote areas and even some of those the mining towns particularly, I'm guessing that 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on is going to really hit a couple of points with them.
Yeah, well, when I started to write that tune, I felt like it was a Cold Chisel song for some reason. And when I sent it to Jimmy just to have a listen to, I said, look, I'd love to get your vocal on this, Jimmy. It's screaming out for someone who's... Yeah, well, Jimmy's blue-collar royalty to me, I've grown up with him, and a lot of our family have, and being friends with him over the years has been a phenomenal gift to be able to just ring him up every now and then and ask him to do a song. And when he sang on it, it blew me away, absolutely blew me away to hear his voice. And I one day hope to sing it live with him this year. If we can con him into a gig somewhere in Sydney, it'll be great.
That'll be fantastic. Troy, it's been great to catch up with you. We all had an immense weekend out there at CMC Rocks Queensland. We're looking forward to it happening again. And what's the inside scoop? Is Paul Pasali going to let that go?
Well, we really hope not. I think you'd be mad. Apparently, they've signed up for like a 3-year deal, so I'm hoping that's the truth of it. And having it on our doorstep, whether I'm playing there or not, Darren, I'd be an ambassador for it, no worries at all, and help them promote it, because I just think you need a festival that big. And can I say to all your listeners tonight, anyone from the sunny coast that came down to the festival, thank you so much. There were people sitting in beautiful deck chairs out the back away from the mosh pit, and there were kids there jumping up and down having a great time. Country music is for everybody, and it's our music. So it's very, very appropriate that they got over there and had a good time with us.
No doubt about it. Troy Cassar-Daley, it's been great to catch up with you. Here is this week's number 2 single. It's Take a Walk in My Country, written by Troy Cassar-Daley and Colin Buchanan. It's off the album Freedom Ride, and that's available right now. Thanks for chatting with you. We look forward to doing it again soon. It's a